Hey folks, thanks for tuning in. I just yesterday picked up this used Dillon 550. It's a 550B model as far as I can tell. And it's from some guy who gave up on the reloading hobby. It's technically in a very nice condition, but it definitely needs some cleaning. It's been sitting around in his garage for about 8 years now, and it's been in good use for a couple of I don't know, another 8 years before that. So this is a model from the early 2000s, and maybe it's interesting for you guys to watch me tear this apart. I've done this before to another Dillon 550, which was probably as far as I can tell a 550A or 550 nothing, like the very first model. So this seems to be the second iteration compared to the 550C, which is the latest iteration. So while I got 3 more tool heads with this one, this is precisely the way I got it. The spare parts, the additional primer tubes and all that stuff, I'm not gonna leave this out. I'm just gonna look at the tool head, the dies, the powder dispenser, and the whole unit, the press unit, considering how to tear it apart and like not tear it apart, how to take it apart for cleaning. And cleaning will be done in an ultrasonic cleaner. This has worked very well for me before. You just need to apply some additional, like I don't just want to get the grime and dirt off of it. Let me just switch cameras and you can see a little bit what I'm talking about. See, there is plenty of dirt in these areas. That's also some dirt there. The tool heads are kind of dusty. Some pieces have gotten a little bit rusty. Most importantly, this piece here, for example, the bottom of the ram got a little bit rust, and the lube that was used on the ram isn't my first choice. It's a bit sluggish, so I also want to make sure that I remove all the lube that is currently on the machine and replace it with my personal choice of fresh lube. I prefer a bit quicker, modern, high-tech lubes, so that the ram will go ultra smooth. Okay, let's just begin with the teardown. Like most of this you probably already know. I'm pulling these 2 pins here, the tool head pins. I'm taking the tool head out. I'm gonna set this aside for a moment. And one important thing I really recommend when tearing these apart is getting like a little bin or something. I have these are from some Chinese shop sending these out from Berlin, Germany. These are actually meant to be used by Chinese restaurants to serve fried food. So you would drop in a couple of napkins and serve some fried food. And they're like insanely cheap. You can get like 50 of these for, I don't know, 20 bucks shipped, like 20 euros shipped. The great thing about it is the mesh in here is so small that even the smallest parts, like even these tiny set screws and stuff, they don't fall through. But I can just still drop them into the ultrasonic cleaner and just take them out again without having to worry parts falling through and getting lost in the ultrasonic cleaner. So these, I really love these boxes. I use them a lot for my brass. I use them a lot for other cleaning, and it's very nice to just have a bunch of them, and I can just grab a new one every time I need one. Okay, good. So I'm gonna put all the small parts in here. Next thing I'm gonna do is the little locator pins here. I'm gonna take these out. These you can clean these if you want to clean them. You can clean them just like you clean your brass. I threw them, like I threw a couple of them in a tumbler, which worked nicely, but even better with a wet tumbler and some Hornady one-shot, and they're gonna look better than you. It's really funny. Okay, let me just remove this one. I'm gonna grab a couple of tools here. Gonna get new electric tools, a lot of imperial sized tools. No, this one. Okay, removing the little set screw here, and since we're gonna take it apart for this assembly, I'm gonna unthread it entirely. Here it is. with a little brass tip here. So now this is just finger tight. I can remove the main screw here. You see if I can get a better angle from there. Okay, so I'm gonna remove this screw here. And there's a little locator ball in the spring in here. They're probably gonna come jump at me when I remove this. I can also remove the little case ejector spring. Okay, here's the shell holder plate. Here's the little ball. And let's just get the spring out. Okay, here's the little spring. And next up, I'm probably going to remove the priming system. I'm going to remove the rod. The rod usually doesn't. You can just wipe it down. That's not something that usually gets very dirty. Nope. One up. And here we go. Just need to loosen these. Take out these screws here. This part of the assembly is probably something you very well know from changing the primer sizes. Okay, these screws go in here. This little slider plate here. This little plate here sits below the primer slide to make it slide better. I'm gonna put it in here. We're gonna take this apart further. The primer slide actuation bar, or like, I don't know, control bar. I'm gonna take this top thingy off here, put it in there. Gonna pull out the primer bar. See if it. There's a primer stuck in here, and the primer bar is pretty. I don't know if. I don't think I can get it out. You can see it's been pried open to a point where it's very hard to get out. So I'm gonna get some pliers and pushing this back together and down. Oh yeah, there we go. See, now it's pushed down and I can pull out this. This is probably also not going to need a lot of cleaning. I might just try and push a couple of patches through. Same thing with this one. I'm not sure. Maybe the issue with this one is with this part. I've got a couple of these. I got a couple of these used, and I haven't found a way to reliably and without in a non-destructive way removing this bottom shoe here. This is actually the part that I would like to clean because it has some lube residue on here. We can take this one off. Check. Oh. Okay, this is embarrassing. We can take this screw off here. We can take this one off. This is making sure that the primers don't all fall out when the slide is taken out. It's a little screw and a little spring here. See, how can I get this moving? Okay, here we go. We're stuck a little bit. And this is a little primer stop. I'm also going to just clean this. And then there's another screw. I never understood, like maybe someone can elaborate to me what this screw is for. You see, there's another screw in here, right in the middle. It screws in from here. I never understood what this screw is for. I'm still going to take it out. I initially thought this screw was somehow holding this tube in, but it's much too low. Like it's not never gonna make contact with that tube. Wow, this is tight. Okay, now we got it. So it doesn't seem to be touching anything, and it seems to be in there with a bit of Loctite or something. It's. Let me just show you. It's a pretty big screw. And now it's removed. Okay, so this one's probably gonna just put the shoe into the ultrasonic cleaner and just clean the bottom part. The rest I can just push a couple patches through and just make sure this not be the primers don't even make contact with this metal part here, because you put in the primer tubes. So it's basically just this part down here that needs cleaning. Gonna set it aside. Okay, this part. I really recommend cleaning these primer slides because you want them to slide as smoothly as possible. So one important part to clean is this part. So there's a little set screw down here once again. Let me just grab a little piece of wood. Oh, here we go. Okay, so what you do is push down on it, and then you remove this little set screw here, and then yep, it should come out. This is the stem from the priming system. This is a little sleeve, and this is the little spring. It's really nice to get this cleaned up well. So I'm going to completely remove this little set screw down here. Here we go. Put it in here. This is even this tiny small screw doesn't fall through this bin, so it's really helpful. See, there's some gunk down here that's definitely going to affect the sliding. It's probably from the priming on this press, which I'm probably not going to do on this press. So yeah, this one goes into the cleaning bin. So next up, well, I want to remove this part here. Trying to get a bit closer. I want to remove this part here, and if you remove this part, you are going to potentially run into alignment issues if you want to reattach it. There is a tool by Dillon that helps you realign this. Let me just grab one. I will be doing a reassembly video once I got all these parts clean, but the cleaning is going to take maybe a day for everything to finish. So this is the alignment tool. I don't know if it's also working for the 750 XL, but this one's for the 550, and it's included in some upgrade kits. Like if you get these upgrade kits to upgrade to the new fail-safe bell crank here, they actually include one of these. Because in order to upgrade to this bell crank system, you need to add this little latch here, or this little tab here, and in order to add it, you have to remove this plate, and if you want to reattach it, you need this tool to get the alignment perfect. You can get the alignment perfect without this, but it's a bit of a drag. So yeah, just know, as soon as you loosen these two screws, you might run into alignment issues with the priming hole. You want this priming hole to be 100% centric with the die that is in station 1 here, and that's why in order to fix this all again, you just put a powder die into station 1, you put this tool into the powder die, it's made to fit into the powder die, you raise the ram all the way, and then this little tip, the last step of this tip here, goes into the primer hole and helps you align the primer hole 100% with the powder die in station 1. So just for your information, don't do this lightheartedly, but we're big boys, so let's crack it open. Okay, here we go. screw number 2. Here we go. Okay, this is the ram now. This is the way it looks. And oops, here's the screw. Put the screw over here. Here's a little the primate chute. This is something I don't like this part when I'm like this little flappy part here. I don't really like this part when I'm not planning to deprime on the press, because you only need this part for the depriming. This part here I actually have a spare, so I'm gonna put it into the cleaner and see how it comes out. But I think I got 2 spares from these bell crank upgrade kits, because these parts are included there. Maybe I'm just gonna replace it with a new one. It's got a bit of rust here. It was probably a bit of moisture in the garage where this press has been standing for a long time. Need to remove the little wire here. Yeah, small thingamabob. Screw this. Okay. Put this over here, and then there's 2 more screws. See, it's fixed here. This is also very important to get right. So you can see, I really don't like the way these screws are in here. Not a very nice fit. I wonder how it's gonna look after cleaning and when I reassemble this. If I can get a better fit here. Okay. Okay. It's important to get a good fit here, because this is basically defining the little step you slide your cases over when you insert cases into the machine. Okay, so what you could technically do is you could drive out this little pin here and also remove this little roller here, but I'm not going to bother with this. I'm more concerned about this surface here and these surfaces here. These are the parts that I want to get clean. This one kind of looks okay, and I think the ultrasonic is going to do a good job on it. This part is very important to clean, and I'm also gonna like take a brass brush, like a brass brush on a Dremel, and kind of try and remove any uneven parts here, because this is a very important surface here on your press. So you really want to get this first of all clean and flat. Okay, now comes the big part. Let me just switch cameras. Okay, so we've got to remove this. Oh, let me see. Yeah, okay. I'm not sure if I want to remove the screw, but probably for the sake of completion, I'm gonna do it. Okay, first of all, there's a little. Oh no, well. Let me see if I can get grip on this. It's just. So I need. Here we go. This one's probably going to be good enough. Yeah, it's going to be. Okay, let's start with this one. Okay, that was easy. So removing the grip. This is the standard grip that comes with the press. It's okay, but not my favorite. There's better grips out there. Whoa. Seems like I have to. Seems like I have to thread this one out. It's very tight in here. Okay, here we go. So the washer and the screws I'm going to throw into my little bin. This one I'm probably going to wipe down with WD-40 a lot and see, like, because it's got some rust up here. But I think I have 3 presses with these levels replaced, so I got plenty of spares here. Okay, so yeah, next up, this part. I need 2 of these. here. Let me see. You probably have to drive this one out now. It's gonna be a bit tight down here. Okay, let's do something else first. There's a little set screw down here, this one. We're going to remove this. Oh, this one's really tight. Yes. And this one is really tight. Here we go. Okay, once we got this set screw out, this cross bolt here just comes out. You can see it's got a little rim in here, and this is where the set screw rides in and just prevents this one from sliding either way. And now you can just move this one over, and what we can do is we can pull the ram out, and it's a big step because yeah, you can see like this is something I really want to get cleaned. See, leaving my fingerprints on there. I'm gonna put it into its own bin to make sure I don't make my desk dirty. So now comes an important part. You see that this side here has a little hole in here, and this side has a solid pin, like a solid big pin. So what you do is you punch out through, you punch through this pin to punch out the pin on the other side. So what I'm doing to do this, because I don't have these I don't have punches this size, I use a Torx head screwdriver with a hammer cap. Let me just clean up a little bit here. I need my little piece of wood again. Okay, here we go. Put this one through. Just make sure, like you can look in from here, make sure that you're actually punching on the huge pin. No, this one's not doing it. It's really recommended to use a hammer. I like a metal hammer. I'm missing just a tiny bit. Let me see if I can use this bigger one. Nope, this one doesn't fit. I've done it before, so there must be one that fits. Oh no, I could pull it out. Okay, very nice, yeah. So this one definitely needs some cleaning. And now I can just switch sides and use the same pin punch to kind of punch on the rim. just make sure that you're punching on the right part. Okay, here we go. Got it out. So, oh no. One more step we can do now, but I don't like doing this, is punching out. You can see it here. Punching out this little roll pin here to remove the spring. This is something you can do if it's absolutely necessary, but I'm not a fan of punching out roll pins, because roll pins, they only have a certain amount of times they go in and out without getting too loose. So I don't have the necessity to remove the spring. I'm going to clean the whole frame here with the spring inside, and I'll just not worry about it. Yep. I'm going to put this aside. This can also already go into the cleaner. This is one of the, this is probably the biggest single part to clean. So now we've got the issue with this screw here. I've got to remove this somehow. Let me see if I can get a good angle on it here. Oh, let's do it like this. Ah, okay. See, it's moving. It's starting to move. Terribly slow. Really painful to watch. Let me grab something. Ah, here we go. Gonna put a brass punch on top. To save the surface a little bit. Ah, okay. We can already take this off. This one's also another part that needs some cleaning. This off. You can see there's two holes for a grease press to put some grease in there, and I want to completely, I want to remove this bolt and not just remove both screws and remove both arms, because I want to add my own grease into this part here. So let's just move this up, and it's much easier. It's much easier this way. Add this brass punch here. Oops. Okay, here we go. Finally, yeah. This is a part where a lot of things come together. This is an important joint. This is an important joint. These all need to be thoroughly cleaned. Thoroughly. These two arms, of course, are also important parts to get cleaned. You can see here. This is done to help distribute the grease that you pump into it. Help to distribute the grease and kind of save the grease a little bit in there. It's super dry, so whoever used this before hasn't been done a lot of greasing. And apparently, like the last one I had, didn't have these. Okay, didn't have these screws. The other 550, it had little pins. So. Seems like I have to remove this screw as well to get the second arm out. Not a big deal. Yeah, it doesn't hurt. Okay, yeah, you see this is also in a very important part to clean. These two need some cleaning. And that's it. Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, no. We forgot something. And just move this aside, so all this can go aside now. And yeah, let's also take this apart. First thing we need is, I'm going to switch over to the second camera. I think this is a better perspective here. Yeah. So let's just loosen all these all these lock rings first. Okay, there we go. So what I'm gonna do is, and this is one of the reasons why Dillon dies are so awesome, is because they're so easy to take apart and so easy to clean. Like you can get them, you can clean them up very, very well. Okay, you're probably asking yourself why you're watching someone unscrew these screws all day, but there's no faster way of doing it. Get this out. See, hopefully that's far enough. Ah, it's not. Damn it. Why am I bothering? I'm gonna remove this one all the way anyway. So this bin is gonna be for the powder dispenser. I've got plenty of powder dispensers. I've got 4 in total. So there's gonna be one big powder dispenser move. These hoppers are already screwed in, which is huge relief. The old ones, I've gotten some old ones from the early generations that were glued in, and getting these glued in hoppers off is such a pain. Plus, once you've got them off, in order to reattach them, you kind of have to screw them in. So what you do is you will line them up real nicely, then drill through the casing and the hopper, and then add a little plastic screw in here to basically rebuild what's already here with these screwed in ones. So these just lift off, cap off. Okay. This one, just gonna take it all apart all the way. This screw, this is like the central screw of this whole assembly. Once I take this screw out, it's just gonna fall apart. So here's my nut. Here's the screw with a little spring washer. Here's the bell crank assembly. This one's great. And this is the part that sits on the powder die. This is a little nylon rectangular slider that helps make this move this a bit smoother. Here's a little plastic insert in here. Oh, here we go. Just gonna push this out. Oh, these used to. This is something that usually just falls out all the time. This one seems to be pretty tight in there. Well, I'll just leave it in there. So this part, like you can potentially just remove this screw as well, but it doesn't look as if I really want to do this. So I'm just going to put it in like that. You can remove this now. And these sliders, I'm going to clean them really well and kind of get a little surface finish here with a fine grit sandpaper. Oh, and see, like if you've watched my Dillon powder drop video, you're gonna find, see, this one, there is no gap in here. If you look in here, this seems to be a more modern version where they have kind of fixed this issue. There is no gap in here, and I was going a long way just to hammer these tubes in a bit further. You can see it's flush here, and it doesn't have a gap in here down there. There's no gap. So they must have changed dimensions somehow. Either they made this part a bit shorter, or they made this part of the tube a bit longer. But back for some of my older assemblies here, I had to heat up the case and hammer this tube a bit further in to close the little gap that was in here between the the funnel piece of this tube and the case here. So this has been obviously been fixed with these newer versions. This is something to look out for. So if you're getting older powder dispensers, just have a look in here and see if there's a little gap between these two metal parts in there, because this is potentially a place where powder might pile up. Okay, so this is the powder dispenser now. I'm going to put this one aside, and next up, and this is really easy, the dies. I'm going to unscrew this. Okay. Oof. Oh yeah, someone went to town on these. Holy moly. Okay, broke it. Just gonna unscrew this. Okay, this is the sizing die. Chip. I'm going to take a look at this in a bit. Take out the powder die. Okay, this is the powder die. Inside is the 44 Magnum powder funnel, and I'm going to set this aside because I want to clean this one with the caliber conversion kit, which is I'm going to leave it with the dies. I just hope it doesn't get lost. So remove the lock ring again, and the lock ring needs a little bit of cleaning, but this one's perfect condition. I'm just going to set it aside. It doesn't need cleaning. All these dies look pretty good, but I'm still gonna treat them as if they need cleaning, and I'm gonna give them a little bit of cleaning. So these two dies, the seat and the crimp die, are just awesome. The crimp die is the easiest one. You just pull this little pin. This is the crimp assembly. This is something you can just also do on the press. Like, you don't have to unmount it. You just pull this little tab, and you can drop the part out that actually does the work, and you can leave this little sleeve in, and just clean this, put it back in. Nothing changed about your setup. So this part is actually identical to this part. It's really funny. So here's basically the same thing. You just pull out this little tab here. This is the sizing die. The sizing die's got a little pin inside here. This little pin here, and the pin holds the sizer. The sizer can be flipped 180 degrees. One side is for round nose bullets, and one side is for hollow point or flat point bullets. This is the rest of the assembly. So this is also no, this is not where the crimping is happening. So this part is, these two are basically identical. So a nice way of getting the production costs down here. Now this part, I want to clean it properly. So what I do is I need a little screwdriver. I'm just gonna grab a little flathead screwdriver. Push it down on some wood. Hopefully don't bend it. Pull out this little tab up here. So here's a little tab. And now I can lift this the capping assembly out. There's a bit of old stale grease on here. There's a little spring that I want to clean. There's a little the top screw to hold it all together. And this part, we're still not done with it. So these are usually a bit difficult to get apart, because this screw is, I think this screw here is it's got some Loctite on it. I'm gonna grab this. I'm gonna put on some protection here. Screw it down. Little piece of leather here. it moves, but I still kind of like, it's not like it's loose, but it's more like it's greasy and stuck all the way. Like I can't. Oh well, now I can do it by hand. Okay, there we go. Whoa, that was nasty. Okay, you can see in this screw there's some Loctite in there. This is the decapping pin, and here we go. So this part also goes into the cleaning bin, and like one of these pliers with a bit of leather, so helpful. Okay, that's it. So this is what we turned the press into. It's let me just swap cameras. There we go. Powder dropper and dies. Body parts, like body assembly, actual press, the RAM, and the priming system. Okay, thanks very much everyone. I hope you enjoyed this little video. I hope it was helpful to some of you guys. And yeah, stay tuned for the reassembly video looking at all the parts after cleaning.